we're going to try something I've never tried before. Let's see if we can put a new handle on an old axe. I'm not sure the age or exactly where this axe came from, but it does appear to have an old sticker here, and if you look at the end, it looks like there's almost a little epoxy on the end, so I don't believe the axe is super old, but it is kind of nostalgic that my dad gave it to me years ago. And if you look just under the head of the axe, you'll notice on the handle it is cracked in several places, making this unsafe and just pretty much useless. Now some of you might be thinking, is this axe even worth fixing? I mean, you could probably go out and buy one for about the price it would be to replace the handle. And you might be right. But I would like to pass this down to my kids one day, so let's fix it. And I probably could run out to a local store and buy a handle for this axe, but that would just be too easy. I actually want to make this with my own hands using some wood from my own property. This is a piece of ash that I salvaged from a fallen tree. I dragged the tree up to my building with my tractor, put it on my sawmill, and slabbed up a bunch of pieces. I then put it in a solar kiln and dried this out. And now I'd like to use it for the axe. If you look here, you'll notice that it is just a little bit short, probably about an inch and a half short total length, but I believe that's still long enough for this axe, and so that's what I'm going to work with. When making a handle, I have to be very careful on which way the growth rings are fashioned. In other words, we want them to be as straight as possible to the front and back of the axe. If we look here at the original, you'll notice they're almost straight front to back. So that means I'm gonna have to cut out about the center section of this wood to get those rings nice and straight. I also want you to notice the tightness of the rings in the new wood versus the older wood. So I'm hoping that this wood will be a lot stronger than the original. When it comes to getting the exact shape, I'm not sure exactly how the professionals do this, so I'm just setting this about in the middle of the wood. That way I can get the best grain, and I'm gonna take a pencil and just kind of sketch around it. That'll allow me to get a rough shape and I can fine tune it later. To remove all this excess wood, I'm going to use a jigsaw. Now we do have to remember that the blade on a jigsaw can move around quite a bit when making a cut, so I need to stay just to the outside of these lines. Well, I just learned something. When you're using a jigsaw to cut out a 2-inch piece of dried ash wood, it takes a long time, even with a fast cutting blade. So it is possible, but I need to find a different way. Now my next option is my bandsaw. It should cut a little bit faster just because I believe the blade's moving a lot faster than that jigsaw, so let's give it a shot. The bandsaw was still a little bit on the slow side, but it definitely was faster than the jigsaw. So if you ever plan on making a handle and you happen to have a bandsaw, use that one. Let's look at the new handle versus the old handle. And if you'll notice, the old one is much thinner than the new one. Part of the reason I made this one so thick is if you look down here at the end, this kind of flares out a little bit, makes it less likely for it to slip out of your hand. So I'm gonna have to do that at this end, and that's part of the reason why I made this entire piece so thick. So my next step is to start thinning this out. To take off some material on this handle, I'm gonna try and use a draw knife. And to be honest, I've only used this once or twice before, so I'm not an expert, and it could probably use a good sharpening. So let me try this out and we'll see how it goes. It definitely needs to be sharpened. I got a variety of stones that I'm going to use to try and sharpen this. I do know that we do not want to sharpen the back. You want that to be as flat as possible. So I'm going to sharpen this front edge right here. Once I started sharpening this, I realized how badly it was sharpened previously. So if you happen to get a draw knife, you'll probably have to sharpen it before you use it. Like I mentioned before, I'm not an expert with the draw knife, and I've accidentally got a few larger pieces to peel off. I haven't messed up the handle thus far, but if I keep getting these big chunks out, then I might. So I think I need to change to a different tool. Now, I didn't want to continue to use the bandsaw to cut the rest of this out, just because I know a lot of people don't have one. But I think the smartest thing to do to save a little bit of time is to line up this original handle and try and mark out a center section of this board and use the bandsaw once again to trim that out, just to save a lot of time. Now let's take a quick measurement of this original handle with a caliper, and that comes out to about 3/4 of an inch. Then I need to transfer that number to the center of this board from one end all the way to the other. Now this cut may not be perfect, but look how much wood that bandsaw removed really quickly. Now, of course, you may be asking, why didn't I just start with a thinner piece of wood to begin with? And that's because I wanted this end out here to flare out. So I needed to start with a larger piece of wood and then shape it down. When we compare the old handle with the new handle and put them side by side, it's a little hard to tell, but the new handle is a little bit taller than the old handle. The old handle always felt a little bit small in my hands anyway, so having this larger handle should not only feel better, but should give this more strength. Moving on to the next step, if you were to run your hand along each side of this handle, you'll notice there's a lot of high and low spots from the bandsaw. So I'm going to take a plane and I'm just going to run along this to knock down some of those high spots. When it comes to the curve here, I can't use the plane, so I'm just going to sand this down best I can to smooth it out. This is also a good time for me to sand down the front and the back of our handle, just to get rid of some of those rough spots. With the front, back, and sides now sanded, I next need to work on these edges. Currently they're really sharp, and if I was to use it as is, I could easily get cut as I swung and hit the axe. And to do that, I'm going to use a brand new tool. This is called a spoke shave, and I've went ahead and sharpened a blade, so that should cut nicely. To hold this in place while I'm trying to get those edges, I'm going to use this bench clamp that I recently installed, and that should allow me to get just at the right angle without hitting anything else. Now the handle is not perfect and it does need a bunch of sanding, but I probably could have got a little bit better finish if I use a round over bit in a router. But I wanted to use a spoke shave because I really wanted to do this by hand, so I know what it felt like for some of the old timers. And after a bunch of sanding, some of it by hand, some of it by battery power because it was taking forever and I had to go that route, I got this pretty close. Not perfect, but pretty close. And it's now time to attach the blade to the handle. But as you can see right here, the new one is a lot bigger than the old one, which means I'm gonna have to still remove a bunch of wood from this handle. But first, I need to remove this blade from the old handle. And I want to see exactly how much strength this old handle still had in this axe head. So I've clamped it in a vise and we're gonna pull on it really hard to see what it takes. Here we go. Oh, yeah, that had no strength to it. It didn't hold worth a flip. And now I have to get the rest of this wood out. I have a feeling I'm probably gonna have to cut it and then drill it. And that's gonna give me a chance to use my new little folding pull saw. After a lot of work and a lot of mess, I was finally able to get that axe handle out of the head. It's now time to shape the handle so that I can slide the head over the top of it. So therefore it's going to take a bunch of sanding, probably some extra cutting, because I need to get that to be a nice tight fit. After a bunch of cutting, sanding, and test fitting, I got the axe handle here pretty close to the same size as the axe head. And so now I'm going to try and cut that slot in the middle, and hopefully that'll give me enough flex to get everything to slide on. One thing I did learn in this process, if you're going to use a rubber mallet, that black stuff is going to get all over your axe handle. I also learned that I don't like the axe heads with the little ribs inside. I believe there's 3 on each side there, and that just makes it really difficult to do any test fits. And because of that, I had to make the top of this handle here much smaller and thinner than I'd like, so that it would fit inside. And if you look at it, you can definitely tell the difference in the handle versus the hole in the axe. And that makes me believe that the weakest part of this axe will be right here in the top. Now, if you have any other suggestions on how to actually work with an axe that has the ribs in it like this one does, please put that in the comments. I'd love to hear about it, and I know that'll help a lot of other people as well. But I'm still gonna work with this and hope for the best. I got the axe head on the handle the best I could without having to do any other major cutting. So now we need to get a wedge and stick that right in there. I made a wedge out of some of the existing wood I had left over, but after looking at it, I don't think it's going to spread out the wood far enough. So I made a secondary one, and I think that will just spread it out just enough to grab everything and provide enough resistance. I'm also going to use some number 2 glue on this wedge to make it nice and permanent. And once I get it in position, if it's not spreading out enough, I always have the option of grabbing the second one and putting it in right beside it. I'm also using a liberal amount of glue just to make sure it goes into all the cracks. The wedge went in nicely, but it did crack in a few spots. But that's okay. It's still in there nice and firm, and I believe it'll do really well once that glue has dried. I also see why this had kind of a top coating on it when it was from the factory, because if you look at it, these little grooves and stuff that protrude out from the sides really looks kind of ugly on the open top here. So by putting that top coat, it made it look nice and smooth, so that makes a lot more sense. And there we go, a really great looking handle on this axe. Now maybe you're wondering, why in the world did I not clean up the head? Well, this is a working axe. This is meant to go out and do some chopping. If I wanted to make it look really pretty, I would shine it up and put it up on a wall, and if you look somewhere right over in this direction behind me, I actually have an axe up on the wall because it looks really pretty. But in any case, this is meant to be used, and only time will really tell on how long that will last. Hopefully it'll last me several more years. Now of course I do need to protect this handle, and to do that I'm going to use some boiled linseed oil that I'm going to wipe on, just wipe off any excess and then just let it dry. Overall, I'm excited how this axe handle turned out. If you have any other suggestions on how to improve this, please put those in the comments. We'd love to help out as many people as possible. And any of the other difficulties that I had in here, or any suggestions just to make this easier to create, please put those in the comments as well. Now, I hope you enjoyed this project, and get out in your shop and have fun building.